Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are three philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called deceived. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth,
This is the knowledge of the blessing, brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the blessing, brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the blessing, brotherhood. Take it back to the way that it was in the beginning.
Right, once again, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath. First and foremost, I want to say all praises be unto the Most High, Almighty, Ahai Yeshua Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior, the I am, that I am, the I am saves, who the world calls Jesus Christ. This is the SC Community Church of Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar,
And I'm Bishop Michaela.
and we be bringing you today's Sabbath report / lesson, worship, exhortation, praise. And once again, it is grace in a relationship. All right, and we're at part 2. So once again, this exhortation, this praise, this worship, all right, this song that we're singing today is grace in a relationship. All right, and just going back into the last lesson, we were able to see and understand that the proper way to analyze grace is in the form of a relationship. Right? And why did we say that? Because Christ gave grace unto the church, unto the faithful. And the church is symbolically his wife. All right, so he gave grace to his wife and his partner, knowing the nature of her, right? And then having the patience to deal with her. All right, so once again, this grace has to be looked at in a relationship form to properly understand it. Because Christ gave grace unto the church, happy and beneficial of this grace, right, extend this grace out to others on the outside of that relationship, right? So us as believers, we're first going to have to exhibit this grace in the form of our relationships with our partners and how we're feeling that grace now, right? Extending down from Christ, or extending down to our relationship, and then now we can go outside and make others feel that grace. All right, but we do it a disadvantage and disjustice when we analyze the grace with Christ, practice that, use that for others, but don't analyze it first in our own said relationships, if you're in a relationship. All right. And for those who aren't in a relationship, to have this understanding going into the relationship, to have this understanding when you're picking a partner, right? Picking a partner with the true grace, right, which is seen as faith, right, and not the Old Testament understanding of grace, which was shown through beauty, through looks. Right, so we're able to analyze a relationship last week where these partners, or one partner, right, was exhibiting the grace shown to him through his wife, which was named Aaron. All right, she was showing him grace when he had a fault, and he was showing how that moment, instead of an argument, they grew closer with that mishap, with the exhibition of grace being shown. All right, and this is what is stated in the scriptures, right, that the grace of a wife would delight her husband. right? Her discretion will fatten his bones. All right, and we went into why the woman was also going to have to exhibit grace unto the man, knowing that man, what? He fell. So, yes, in the likeness of Christ, but we know that this man has fallen, and only Christ is the one that had all those fleshy desires, that was put on him all those thoughts, and was all those infirmities, right? And it never was able to take a hold of him, right? Whereas with man, we get that help through Christ, through that grace. But not that that man won't make a mistake. So she's going to have grace and exhibit it with that man. And that man, right, now being told to love the woman as a church exhibits the grace back to the female. And then we have this covenant of grace with each other being exhibited. All right. So once again, we're going to go right into the lesson. Actually, sorry. All right. So once again, the Sabbath class, right? The Sabbath lesson for the day, the worship, the praise, the song of the day, the exhortation of the day is grace in a relationship. And we're going to start again at Isaiah 53 and 1.
This is the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
So who has believed the report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord been revealed to? All right, we always ask this question and start off with this scripture in the lessons. Why? Because in Isaiah's time, he had to ask. Because who's going to believe our report? When the Most High is picking these individuals, chosen men, he's sending the word of God, which is Christ, to these individuals, a chosen vessel who's reached to themselves a certain sanctity of faith. And he sends the word of the Lord to reveal unto the vessel, thus saith the Lord, these things, and to send this vessel outside to declare unto the people. Right? But this is a simple man. It's not a rich man. It's not the king usually. It's a simple individual he sends out, and people are left with his word that they have to believe, and that can be hard for people to do. So what do? They ask for signs, different things of that nature, going back into the Old Testament with Moses in the wilderness and the people. Show me a sign. Right? He's showing signs and wonders. He's striking the rock. He's getting water out of it. He's using the rod. He's turning into a serpent. Right? He's splitting the Red Sea. Right? He's doing these different things to show them that God is with him. And even with all doing that, they still lacked faith. So even showing the signs, just because you show someone a sign, that still doesn't mean that that will convince them in faith, because faith, we understand, comes through understanding, right? By understanding, you reach a level of faith, having confidence of what you've learned is true about a topic that you're unable to see. And what that topic is God, Christ, the gospel. Right? To whom is the power of the Lord been revealed? Right? Many times they ask to see the power, and the power is shown through these signs. When Christ came on the scene, right, he said, a wicked and adulterous nation seeketh a sign, and no sign shall be given it but the sign of Jonah. Right? Now we're moved into confirmation. Right? Where you believe and you want confirmation, right, via signs, right? But this is happening in faith, where it's growing the faith that you already have, while the signs and the asking for signs is someone outside of faith saying they don't believe, but if you show me something, I may believe. All right, so once again, who has believed our report, to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? We're going to go through the scriptures and ensure that they're interpreted, translated, and taught correctly. We're going to start off once again with Ephesians 5 and 25.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
All right, so husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So this is the command that the husbands are to love the wives as Christ loved the church gave himself for it. He gave himself for the church, and the church received grace. All right, he gave himself up to give grace onto his woman. All right, and just continuing with that, we go to John 1 and 17.
It's the book of John, chapter 1, verse 17. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ.
All right, so the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by our Lord and Savior, Yeshua, the I Am saves, Christ, right? What we call Jesus Christ. All right, so we're seeing here that once again, Christ came and gave grace and truth, right? The truth of the situation and the grace with the understanding of the situation. All right, so we were exhibiting that Christ knew the truth of situations, and because he knew this truth, now he would exhibit this grace in the midst of that. All right, and I was showing that via him speaking with Peter, him knowing that they would deny him, and him telling them, hey, I know your nature, I know you deny me. Peter saying, I won't deny you, ended up denying it. But Christ already knew the nature of that and already had that grace ready for him, knowing how his partner is. All right, and that's the big thing about it, is that you're to now know, understand the truth of your partner, how they are, and to add that grace in them, right, and to help them when they aren't seeing and understanding, right, and you know that these things are transpired, and to be that help, like Christ was that help. All right, and we're just gonna go to once again Sirach 26 and 13, and we'll.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 13, out of the Apocrypha. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
All right, so once again, the grace of a wife will delighteth her husband, and her discretion fattens her bones. So that once again, the woman also gives grace to the man, the same way Christ came and gave grace unto the woman. All right, so both people are entering into this covenant of grace together, right, bestowing grace on each other. All right, and this is the key thing. So once again, we are at, all right, we're just go to page, we'll go to page 9 and start at the Romans 6 and 1 at the bottom. So we're at page 9. All right, page 9. And we're at Romans 6 and 1 on that page.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 6, verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein?
All right, so once again, what shall we say then?
Hold on. Mics are not need to be adjusted. You adjust your mic levels.
Mic levels? Hold on one second.
Is that for when I'm reading? Is that where they talk more?
Doesn't sound easy.
Oh, you know what? My mic is not on. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. The water. Does that sound better? All right. So once again, Romans 6 and 1 is saying, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Right? No. All right. And why am I bringing this? Because now when we're saying, hey, this grace is in the relationship, is one going to now look and be like, you know what? This is how I am, and I'm stuck in this grace. You should give you. No, you cannot live in this grace day to day and just be stuck in the behavior, right? You cannot continue in that, right? And just say, hey, grace is here, right? But the individual, right, should be dead to sin, should be mortifying the flesh day to day, right? So that they don't live any longer therein in this way, right? And give us Romans 6 and 12.
It's the book of Romans chapter 6, verse 12. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof.
All right. So let not sin reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. So once again, we're to mortify that. You're to be killing that on a day-to-day, working on that behavior on a day-to-day, mortifying that, right? That you don't obey the lust thereof, all right? That's transpiring. All right. So let not that sin therefore reign. You can't just let it reign inside of the body and just let it happen and be like, that's how I am. You got to deal with how I am. Right. That's not what we're promoting in the relationship here. Right. This is an honest approach to getting better. Right. And doing better on a day to day and working on that and not allowing that to fester. Right. These offenses or things that a partner may want an individual to get better with, because we're all trying to get better together and all trying to reach our perfection. And when you're taking a partner, you two are agreeing that, hey, we're going to work on this together. All right. So once again, all right, we're at page 10. We're at John 8:1.
It's the book of John chapter 8, verse 1. Jesus went on to the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And when Jesus had lifted up himself, and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
All right. So we're going to take this in to show that Christ came and showed this example of grace used in a relationship. Right. And here we have Christ going to the Mount of Olives. All right. He's going to the Mount of Olives early in the morning. He came into the temple. All the people came onto him. He sat down. He's teaching them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought onto him a woman taken in adultery. All right. So this woman, she committed an offense. All right. And the woman, she just once again, the physical likeness of people in general. Right. And our relationship with God. All right. So here she is. She's taken in an offense. So a sinner who's offended. They say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act, meaning that, they opened the door and they seen her and she was sleeping with another individual. All right. So this is the ultimate offense. All right. They're like, sir, this is not even a rumor. This is not nothing. She was found in the very act committing the adultery. Right. Most likely husband came home. Someone came, caught her having this affair. Now it says, now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? So they're asking Christ now. The law says this is how we're to react to this situation. Naturally, this is how we're to act to the situation based on the law. All right, that she should be stoned. All right. And now Christ is now introducing this new understanding in the relationship.
All right. And this they said, tempting him, that they might accuse him, because they're going to say, oh, now you're going to tell us to break this law. This is how we're supposed to react to this situation lawfully. All right. But Christ stooped down and with his finger right on the ground, and he's acting like he doesn't hear them. Right. He's like, you know what? I know what they're trying to do. Right. They continued asking him. So they're asking now for this new understanding. They are the one that asking him for this. And he lifted up himself and he said unto them, he that is out without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. So, and he's not saying, oh, he that didn't cheat, right? You can punish her if you didn't cheat. That's not what he said. He said if you committed any type of offense, period. And this is what we have to understand. So he's bringing this new introduction saying, hey, we're all offenders. You have offended in something else, somewhere else. Yes, she's offended in this situation, the man, but this individual being in a representation, right, in a relationship with God, you have an offense within you as well. And if she has to be punished with that offense, then they're looking at Christ is saying you got to be punished with that offense. And this is what he's bringing, in that no one could run from this punishment. You're all in sin. So if you're going to push that same law, right, then you will be penalized as well, because now God has to react the same way. You're saying, no, this can't be. No, the person dissed me. This is what has to happen. This is what has to go down. Now God's like, oh, they broke the law. This is what has to go down. Right. So this is what he's showing here. Right. So he's convicting them in their heart, right, by saying unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him cast a stone at her first. All right. And a lot of times in a relationship, we have to analyze this, because a lot of times the person is reacting on what they're seeing at the moment, but they're not taking into account, you know, have I had this thought before? Have I had this thing before? Have I had this thing in me before? And if I had this thing in me before, right, is it not possible my partner could have this thing in them before? Right, especially for men as well. We know that the scriptures say that what woman is the weaker vessel, we're the stronger. It showed that even in the law of nature, by physically giving us more strength than the female, right? And if me as a man is feeling away and my lust is eating away at me, how much more would it be with the woman? So now I'm supposed to understand, hey, if I get this thought and I'm feeling this way, if I'm looking at something outside, do you think she's looking at something outside? Right? And the same thing to the female. If you're feeling that way, right, you don't think the other person could be feeling that way? And this is where this grace has to be, all right? And not only when you catch the individual right there with the act, but going into these unseen times where it's transpiring. And even Christ revealed that even the thought in your mind, right, is offense. And once again, so he stooped down on the ground and wrote, and they which heard it, they were convicted by their own conscience, because now they're going in and they're like, you know what? Shoot, I had a thought. I had this thing. Oh, I did this yesterday. You know what? I broke this little law yesterday. They're all going into their mind now to look at offenses that they did that they didn't get caught for, because they didn't get caught in the very act by man. God's seen it though. Now all of them is being convicted, and that conviction is supposed to be in your heart, where you ease up on the partner, where you're like, you know what? Yo, how can I even blame you? I face the same things at times too. All right, I offend at times too. All right, and now when Christ looked, he's like, yo, no one's here? No one want to condemn you? The man's not even here? The man's not even there. Nobody's there. Not even her man is there, who she committed the offense against. Why? Because now Christ, right, who's God, Lord, and God, spoke to their heart, revealed a situation that nobody, right, knew that someone could understand and feel and know that what they're dealing with in secret, and now actually leave that woman alone because they're convicted in their heart now. And that's the same thing when we're looking at children. We're like, you know what? Oh, I was like that when I was young. This thing is supposed to make you now have an emotional thing to have more, right, sorrow for the individual, to have more, you know what? I understand. All right, so really continue. So once again, key notes: the woman in the marriage, right? She was found in adultery, caught in the very act. Right? God did not condemn, but gave grace. We all have sin and fault found within us. We're lying if we say we don't. All right, so continuing. So we're at Hebrews 10 and 28.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 28. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much more sore punishment, suppose ye, shall he be thought worthy, who had trodden under foot the Son of God, and had counted the blood of the covenant, wherewith he was sanctified, an unholy thing, and had done despite unto the Spirit of grace. For we know him that he had said, Vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again the Lord shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
All right, so once again, now we're seeing, hey, those who abuse the grace. So if you're getting extended this grace in a relationship, and this is what it's saying here, he that despised Moses' law, they died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Meaning that if you were found and this thing was done, right, then the punishment and the law that has to come with that fault must be done. And it would be done once 2 or 3 people caught you with the knowing you did this very act. You would have to be penalized, right? They would have to react in this way. All right, but now it's saying of much more sore punishment, suppose ye all thought worthy, who has trodden under the foot the Son of God, and counted the blood of the covenant wherewith they were sanctified an unholy thing, and done despite unto the Spirit of grace. So it's saying, hey, just because the reaction's not the same way as in the old covenant, the punishment is much worser. Right? The punishment is much worser. It's just happening later on. There's just more grace and long suffering being given. But because that individual is treating the grace in that way, the end result's going to be much worse than the punishment than they would have got under the law of Moses. So they're fooling themselves if they're thinking they're going to get away with treating the grace in that way. Right, so the individuals fooling themselves if they think they're going to treat the grace that way, and the end result is not going to be worse than that stoning they would have got in the old covenant. It's going to be much worse, because now we're talking about hellfire, and we know the different things in hell. If you haven't, go listen to the Apocalypse of Paul. Right, it goes into these different places in hell and punishments and various things, which is much worser than you just getting stoned by the people. And when you're getting stoned by the people, you're going to die, and that'll be over with. In hell, it's a continuous thing. It's an everlasting thing where you can't die. You're just being stoned. You're just going through whatever punishment it is for eternity. All right, so once again, it's saying, for we know him that said, vengeance belongeth unto me. So once again, a lot of times we want to take vengeance, and you know what? Oh, I seen this happen. Yo, I'm going to attack it right now myself. We have to believe that if we're those of the faith, that God is watching the situations that we're in. And when somebody is offending you or is doing offense, God is going to vengeance that in the long run. And you have to be patient. So a lot of people, the reason why they take things into their own hands is because they're impatient. They want it to happen now, right now. Therefore, I can't wait on God, because God doesn't move on your time. He moves on his time. All right, so he's saying, vengeance belongeth to me. And that's why they say, wait on the Lord, because he's going to vengeance that. Whatever's happening, he will repay it. He will be the one in this situation that will teach the individual the lesson. By happenings, by making happenings happen, he will teach the individual the lesson. But you have to believe the Lord will do that, and that he does repay in this way. All right, and there we say, for we know him that said, vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So he's saying, yo, you got to listen to me. I'm going to punish them. It's a fearful thing if they fall into my hands. I'm the best one to punish them. But you got to deal with my process. And my process can be a patient process. Because once again, God is seeing if the individual could turn their heart around. Because he doesn't really want to punish them. Right? He would rather them turn their heart around. All right, so once again, under Moses, man died without mercy. Right, under 2-3 witnesses, right, it's sore punishment for those who are under Christ, right, who's treating the blood of covenant as unholy, who has disrespected the spirit of grace. All right, vengeance belongs to Christ. He will repay for those wrongs when you're getting wrong, whether in a relationship, whether in society, whether in work, whatever it is. You have to believe that, hey, if you're of the faithful and you're doing what you're supposed to do, God repays when you're being offended. And that's your test of your faith now. How much do you believe that he's real, and that how much do you believe he fulfills his promise? And this is one of his promise, that he will repay when you're offended. And you're not to go and pay for that yourself, right? But let him pay, right? And repay for that situation. All right, so we're at Ephesians, right, 4 and 7.
It's the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 7. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ.
All right, so every one of us, all right, so every one of us, but unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. So every one of us is given this grace. Every one of us is given this grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. All right, so grace is given to all of us as a gift. All right, so you can't be like, oh, my partner has to earn my grace. That's not how grace is given. You see, now God's going to be like, no, you got to earn the grace now. You can't just get it by faith and believe it. All right, so we have to be careful that, hey, the behavior that we're exhibiting is not a, you know what, they have to earn this behavior from me, because that's not the way you earned it from Christ. You earned it through faith, by believing in the individual, believing in your partner, believing they will change, believing and allowing them to do that. And not, you know, I have to see the works first. But from the faith and believing, we can now go into the works that will be done after that. Right? Now that you believe, now that you understand and y'all reconcile, now allow the works to happen. But not to allow this to be a works-based thing before the individual is being treated in said way. All right, so we're to extend this same grace to our partners as a gift. A gift. You're to give that grace to your partner as a gift. All right. So we're going to continue. We're at Matthew 18 and 21.
It's the book of Matthew chapter 18, verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of the servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that you owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison. till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry and came and told their Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after that he had called him and said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest me. Shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother their trespasses.
All right. So once again, all right, Matthew 18:21 is saying, Then Peter to him said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him till 7 times? So this is being said to these brethren in their brethren relationship, right? As a brotherhood, that even in that, grace should be extended in our relationship. We're starting off with the first relationship being, hey, the partner, but it's also extended to brotherhood, sisterhood. Right now, this is the brotherhood he's speaking about, and the brother is coming and saying, hey, what about in brotherhood? What about this grace and forgiving in brotherhood when a brother sins against me? And now we're seeing Christ saying, hey, no, you got to forgive even in the brotherhood of relationship, sisterhood relationship, the same forgiving, the same grace. How often shall my brothers sin against me and I forgive them? Till 7 times? Right? Christ said unto them, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. All right, so this is the same thing we can analyze in a relationship with a partner. How much times should you extend this grace to your partner? A lot of times. There's no, oh, I gave it to them 5 times now, and you're counting now. Oh, I gave 5 times the grace, I extended it. It's not the way it's to operate. Right, this answer right here, 70 times 7, even if you say right now that person has that much offenses with you, that's a lot of offenses. Right, and he's just giving a gist that, hey, it's not, oh, 1, 2 times, 5 times, oh, I told him 10 times, I told him 20 times, 70 times 7. And he's just saying, hey, abundance. And then he's showing, hey, and he's showing to them why you should operate in this way by using now law and nature, saying, therefore, and this is a parable, therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, right? And he's using what's called a simile, right? And which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. So this is God seeing that, hey, there's a servant here, and this person owe me a lot, right? Which is symbolically being represented here by the 10,000 talents, right? But as for much as he did not pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children and all that he had, and payment to be made. So God is now asking for the whole family now, right? The Lord is asking for the whole family to repay this offense, right? The servant fell, worshiped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, I'll pay thee all, right? The Lord of that servant's moved with compassion, loosed him, forgave him of all the debt, right? But then this same servant, when they now, after their relationship with the Lord, after they experience that grace for their major offenses and all the offenses added up with them, they're now moving outside into other relationships now. And when another individual is offending, they're now not forgiving them. And this is what we're seeing with this story. The same servant went out, found one of his fellow servants, right? So a person also under the same condition as you, and when you're dealing with them and when they're having stuff with you, you're not extending the same grace onto them, right? This person owes him now, and he's laying hands on him, took him by the throat, saying, pay me what thou. So God, the Lord with his, treated him fine. All right, I didn't do that to you. This person went, and after being treated and given that grace, they're now what? they're going further on the individual. When somebody offends against them, they're not letting it go. This individual who just received said grace now is by the throat on the other person, the fellow individual, the fellow servant, right? Not extending the grace that the Lord gave. And this is how the Lord is analyzing this situation when he's giving grace onto us. That, hey, now when someone offends with you, you taking it to the fullest. You're like, nah, I ain't getting away with that. I've been giving them that. I've been, I'm fed up with it. When you do that, God is now going to look at the relationship y'all have, and he's going to do the same thing. Right, his fellow servant fell down at his feet beside him, saying, have patience with me, I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay. So this person, they took the full on what they could do to the individual when they caught them with whatever, or whatever offense or whatever offended them. They went full on throttle, maximum punishment. There wasn't like, oh no, it's all right, grace, please, Christ gave it to me. There's none of that. When people get wrong, they're gonna take it to they're like, forget the Bible now. No, you did me wrong. And this is why even in the prayer it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Go to Matthew 6 and 12. All right. No, that's inside there. That's inside there. Yeah.
So the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 12. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
All right. So once again, that's why it's in the prayer that God has forgiven us our debts, and we're to forgive our debtors, those who offended against us, those who we believe, they done me wrong, and they are indebted to me in some way. All right. Then his Lord, after he called him, so the Lord hearing this said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee of that debt. So God is hearing now and analyzing from heaven and seeing, look, I gave him the grace. I gave her the grace. And now look how they're using the grace. Should you not also have compassion on outside, on those also of your fellow in your relationship, fellow servant, fellow lover? As the Lord had pity on you, the Lord is angry with the situation, delivered him to the tormentors. And now the Lord is saying, no, you now got to pay me everything now. If you're saying they got to pay you everything, you got to pay me everything. And now this individual who escaped out of jail, they're now cast into the prison now. And the Lord is now saying, no, you're going to pay me everything now. And it says, so likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you. So God will do the same. Those debts that he said was pardoned and given grace unto you. Now, if you're not giving that to your partner, if you're not giving that in sisterhood and brotherhood, now he's saying, I'm removing that from our relationship. If ye from your hearts forgive not everyone his brother their trespass. If you're not forgiving in your relationship, you're not forgiving in brotherhood, sisterhood, God is already mounting up those offenses that you did. The same way you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with those people. I don't want them. They offended. Why don't you want to deal with them? They offended. You should have forgave. If there was an offense, why aren't you forgiving? If you have that in your heart, know that God has removed your grace. Your grace has been removed. And that's what we've seen here. The individual's grace was removed. And now them who didn't have to go to prison and pay for that penitence, that individual is now paying. And Christ is saying, so likewise the Heavenly Father will do to you if you don't from your hearts forgive everyone his brother their trespasses. All right. And it moves from a relationship into brotherhood. And that's what we're showing here, that it's not only in a relationship. That's where it started first. But now we have when the disciples come in and say, you know what about in brotherhood? What about the grace being used in brotherhood? All right. And this was the answer given through Christ. All right. So we're at page 13. All right. We're at Sirach 26 and 15.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 15. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent cannot be valued.
All right. So now we're moving into other forms of this grace. So it's showing that a shamefaced and faithful woman is double grace. So both of these attributes are forms of grace. The woman being shamefaced and the woman being of faith, a faithful woman. This is double grace. That's what it's saying. So both of these are attributes of grace. This is double grace when the woman is showing to be shamefaced and she's showing to be faithful. And it's saying a woman like that with double grace, her continent mind cannot be valued. All right. So her mind, that's of so much value. It's going to be hard to find a woman who has this type of double grace.
Shamefaced, like, from accountability.
That's what we're going to go to right now. I'm happy you said that. All right, so shamefaced. It says modish, bashful, humble, virtuous, ashamed of one's behavior. All right, bashful, literally restrained by shame, firm in modesty. Right, so once again, someone's like, oh, I'm not going to be the one on there looking all crazy. And you want a woman who's, once again, they're looking at, you know what, I can't act out like that because they're embarrassed of that type of behavior. That disobedient, right, unvirtuous behavior, they're like, they have that shame. And when people remove that shame, that's when you see the stuff online. So a lot of people now, shamefaced is being removed from mankind. Now they're going into, you know what, I'll eat like this in front of you. I'll do like this in front of you. Because now that's what's getting views, likes, all of that. And the people who are shamefaced, they're at a disadvantage. Because now they're like, when people look at me and you're talking regular, unless they like your information, there's nothing really you're doing because you're acting normal. You're not acting out in these wild ways and all of this stuff and concocting all these different relationships and storylines. And this has been happening since this reality TV stuff, right? Well, I'm starting with like Jersey Shore and all those shows from back in the days when now they're like, all right, the camera's on you. Like, okay, you can act normal, but you know that if you fight, you know, it'll be emphasized a little more, right? And the people come into these behavior. Now everyone's doing this online, getting out of their regular self and doing wild stuff, right? And no longer shamefaced of their behavior. So usually people are like, I'm not gonna be on camera eating like that and things will be dripping down this. They're like, nah, that's what you gotta do now. Show it as messy as you can, thing as you can, all of that. That's what's getting to play right now. All right. So shamefaced, once again, is modest, humble, virtuous, being ashamed of, right, improper behavior. No, that won't be me doing like that. I won't be acting like that. I won't be the one just saying that out or screaming out or belting out these certain things. And when one is shamefaced, right, they're reserved in behavior, firm in modesty. All right. So going back again, a shamefaced and faithful woman is double grace. All right, so being shamefaced as a wife adds grace to the wife. So being shamefaced is grace onto the wife. Being faithful as a wife adds grace to the wife. Having both is double grace being placed on the wife. All right, and once again, grace is supposed to be seen as a beautiful thing, as beauty and charm. And now this is an abstract grace that's supposed to be beautiful in the man's eyes. All right, and that's what we're going to get to right now. We're at Proverbs 31 and 30.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 30. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised.
All right, so it shows us favor is deceitful, beauty is vain. So it's showing us that the false grace, this favor is deceitful, this beauty is vain. How much man has gone on to a beautiful woman and she doesn't have this fear of the Lord, this praise, and she takes down the man? All right, how many men have looked beautiful, the eyes that the woman love, the hair that the woman love? All right, and they get that man turns into be a monster. Right? Because they didn't judge by, you know what, let me analyze the behavior, how this person is with God and all of that. They were wooed by the favor, which is deceitful, by the beauty, which is vain. Right? Which is leading into falsehood. All right. And actually, there is a movie. You know what? Let me bring it up. All right. Everyone should go watch this movie. All right. And I'll show it too. So it's online here. All right. So it's this movie right here. Oh, shoot. Where is it? This movie right here. It's a Tubi movie. And the movie's called, all right, this is it. If I Can't. All right, this movie right here.
Life can change within the blink of an eye. Trust no one.
Girl, that ain't nobody but Scott. But that fine motherfucker right there,
All right.
bitch, that's the weed man. Everybody know him.
All right, so the movie is basically showing, once again, she sees a beautiful man, she's wooed by him, nothing of how he is or nothing, and in this movie, there's an end result that happens from it. All right, so you want to do some spiritual homework to understand what we're saying in this and how it's displayed in society. Here is a movie, If I Can't. It's available to watch on Tubi, and it shows, hey, a woman, how she falls in love with a man that has this look, that's what they're looking at. And then the end result on how that look turns into deceit and that beauty turns into vain. All right. Were you guys able to hear the audio when I was playing the YouTube? Can anyone in the chat say con? No. Were you able to hear the audio when I was playing it on the YouTube? I'll play it again.
Surprise.
You sound like a whole fool. I've been dealing with real life issues.
All right. Anybody able to hear that? No one answered. I guess not. Maybe not.
Yeah, he said yeah. Eric said
Okay,
yeah.
yes. Okay, they can hear that. Okay.
Choose for these past 2 years. And we ain't. You need to go see our friend while you still can. But a real friend would have known he was fucked up.
Right.
And this is just a small token of my appreciation. Now you know what I'm about to say.
All right.
Just a
But
mama.
this is the movie. All right.
Everything about you.
Cause if I can't have you, nobody can.
All right, so that is the movie. All right, once again, it's on topic to what we're going through, and it's displaying exactly what we're showing here. Right, that once again, favor is deceitful, beauty is vain. Right, but a woman or a man that feareth the Lord, right, they will be praised. All right, we're gonna go to the Septuagint version.
This is Proverbs 31 and 30 out of the Septuagint. Charms are false, and a woman's beauty is vain. For it is a wise woman that is blessed, and let her praise the fear of the Lord.
All right, so once again, it says Proverbs 31 and 30. Charms are false, and a woman's beauty is vain. All right, for it is a wise woman that is blessed, and let her praise the fear of the Lord. All right, so once again, these charms, all right, this charm, beauty is charmful. These charms are false. The woman's beauty is vain, right? Why? Because if they're not wise and understanding, blessed, if they're not fearing the Lord, then it's all vanity. And this is what the first thing we got to do, that, hey, this grace for the partner first is for a partner, right, who is in faith with the Lord. All right. This is for a faithful partner who is in the Lord, that's fearing God. God is not telling you to bestow and start off the relationship. Be like, you know what, I'm just going to bestow this grace on this person who has no desire to come to the Lord. No, it's showing you here that this is the beauty that should be captivating you. It should be a partner that, hey, they're seeking the Lord, All right. For the man, it's not, oh, how big is she? Oh, look at her booty. Oh, look how voluptuous she is. It shouldn't be that. It should be, oh, look how her desire for the Lord. Look how she asked me this and that about the Lord. How she's this about the Lord. Like that should be captivating you. That should be charming you. Right. And when that's not there, now it should be like, you know what? I'm not really attracted to the person because guess what? They're not what? Dealing with what they're supposed to deal with in the Lord. All right. So once again, charms are false. Woman's beauty is vain. It is a wise woman that's blessed, and let her praise the fear of the Lord. All right. So we're going to go into favor.
It's a Strong's definition for the word favor. This is Hebrews 25:80. Khan or Cain. This is graciousness that is subjectively kindness, favor, or objectively beauty. Favor, grace, gracious, pleasant, precious, well favored.
All right. So graciousness, that is subjectively kindness, favor. All right. Favor, grace. All right. Objectively beauty, beauty, pleasant, precious, well favored. All right. So this graciousness, this favor, once again, is attached to a beauty, kindness. And like we were showing last week's lesson, that this beauty, when people see beauty, they treat it with a certain kindness. All right. That's why this graciousness, kindness, favor is attached to beauty, because this person is beautiful, now they get bestowed these special treatments on them, and not because how they are internally, but how they are physically. They're being treated in a special way.
And then the person thinks that they're getting all this treatment good because of how they are on the inside, but it's actually how they look.
Correct. It's based on how they look. Correct. All right. So, and this is what a man will do. If the woman doesn't look as thing and good, then he might not treat her the same. If the woman is beautiful, he'll be bedazzled, and now, oh, you want the door open? You want to do this? Oh, you want this right now? You start buying stuff. Like all of that will be based on. That's why women now will base on, oh, how much does the guy like me? Does he really like me? Because now, if he does, right, like me, then he'll be charmed by my beauty, and he'll be doing these said things. All right, so we're gonna go into charm.
This is the etymology for the word charm. This is incantation, magic charm. From Old French, charm, 12th century. Magic, charm, magic spell, incantation. Song, lamentation. From Latin, carmen, song, verse, enchantment, religious formula. From canere, to sing. From pi root can, to sing. With dissimilation of N to R before M in intermediate form, canmen. For a similar evolution, compare Latin German, germ, from genmen. The notion is of chanting or reciting verses of magical power.
All right, so now we're going to get into this. So once again, it said, right, charms are false, all right? This favor, this beauty, this charm. And what is charm? It's showing you that once again, charm is an incantation, right? A magic charm, magic spell, incantation, song, lamentation, song, verse, enchantment. These are words. So somebody, they're wooing words. That charm, how they're wooing you with the words and the good words and the looks, the way the person's talking to me, the way they look, right? Charmful man.
Tell them what you need to hear to stroke the ego in order to, but in their mind it's really something else.
Correct.
And they're trying to just tell you, oh yeah, no, you're great, but they really have something else in their mind.
They use this a lot in the business world too. That charm is used in business, and when you come to a person and they use that charm, you'd be like, oh, I thought the person was legit everything, because they charmed you out. They sounded all business and everything,
Yeah,
right?
change after you're like, what? Whoa.
They ripped you off. They took off with everything. They were a scammer in the whole thing. You're like, oh, I thought they were legit because the way they were talking to me, the way the individual looked, his suit was nice, the car was nice, all of that stuff. And now they got me, right? How did he get me?
All the qualifications.
Right, all the qualifications. All right, and we can compare this to like a Barack Obama. All right.
A real estate agent. They sell a house. Right?
All right, well, we clearly see this done through Barack Obama, through Justin Trudeau, bringing in young, right, You know, different, because usually when you're looking at a politician, you're looking at someone older, you know, they might be out of size, they might look like, right, Mayor Doug Ford from Toronto, all right? That's what you're thinking of when you're not thinking, oh, you know what, a Barack Obama, a Justin Trudeau, where women are like, yo, look at this handsome man, look at the way they talk, look at the charm coming from them, the smile when they're smiling, right? And they train that charisma. They train these individuals with that way because it's magic, right? It could charm you, right? That works on your heart. Charms work on the individual's heart. That's what these things do. Songs work on the heart. The words, incantations, enchantments, all of these things work on the heart, right? And can woo somebody. Right, so grace equals favor, equals beauty, equals kindness, right? Charm is songs, verses, words used to create magic spells or to captivate the individual's mind. So when somebody is, right, giving you compliments upon compliments, that person is trying to captivate you in your heart with words, which is a charm, which is a magic charm, which is incantation. All right. So once again, grace in the Old Testament was shown by physical and concrete attributes. All right. These physical and concrete attributes can be deceiving and false. So once again, in the Old Testament, grace is shown by physical and concrete attributes. These physical and concrete attributes can be deceiving and false. Grace can be seen as beauty, right? And to show God had favor upon an individual, an added beauty was placed on them. And we went into this in the monarchy and kings, how the king, for them, the people to know God chose this king or this individual, they were also looking for the individual to have an added beauty on them, a grace placed on them by God, right? The kings were tall, handsome. David, tall, handsome.
Why in Sirach does it say to be careful to not be with a woman that sings?
We're going to get into all of that. All right. So grace can be seen as beauty to show favor. God had favor upon an individual. Added beauty was placed on them in the Old Testament as confirmation of this grace. You can go and look at our monarchy versus republics lesson where we go into how kings had added grace on them, which is added beauty and height to show that they're in favor with God, because height is going up with the fact of being upright. And if you look at all the beasts of the earth, they're on all fours. We're standing upright because we're in the likeness of God, and God is what? Upright, which is righteousness, a form of righteousness. Us standing up and being on our 2 foot is a show of righteousness. It's us being upright, while all other animals and species on this earth are on all fours. Only sometimes they can come off of it. You have the kangaroo who can do that sometimes. You have the bear who can do that sometimes. All right, so we're at captivate. Etymology.
It's the etymology of the word captivate, verb from the 1520s, to enthrall with charm, overpower and hold by excellence or beauty. From late Latin, captivatus, past participle of captivare, to take, to capture, from captivus, caught, taken prisoner. From captus, past participle capari, to take hold, seize. From pi root, cap, to grasp. The classical literal sense of seize by force. 1550s is rare or obsolete in English, which uses capture. For that, Latin capture, to take hold, also had a transferred sense of to entice, entrap, allure. Related, captivated, captivating. An earlier verb in English was captive, verb. Late 15th century from Old French captiver, or directly from Latin captivare.
All right, so once again, captivate is to enthrall with charm. So this person is being overpowered and held by excellence or beauty. So by these words, charming words of excellence or this beauty. right? That the person's being captured. So it's not willingly they gave this. They used this thing and it took their heart. They took their heart. They seized it. They captured it. Seized by force, by using these various things. And this is why it comes into witches, and witches learn these charms and various things to make, hey, you want the man to love you, you want to do these things, this is what you do. And once again, this is a robbery, because the person might not have wanted to give the heart to you willingly, right? But you took it through captivation. Now God puts things in us, right, to make you, obviously the woman has to captivate you in some way, right, for you to want to be with the woman. Right. And physically that captivation is there. But God is showing us, hey, he had to put that there to show you an example of what this thing is. But now he's telling us, right, through the scriptures that, hey, that beauty is a false one. Right. It's put there, but that's not what you really want to bank on. You want to bank on what's within the spiritual.
So it's more or less, so they say like, so one woman will captivate the man's heart to do good, and the other one will captivate the heart to just be reckless.
Correct.
I'm done with it. Okay, new one.
Correct.
Just throw it away. Unless she's learning to captivate the man's heart to take care of it.
Correct. And to be, right, to be a good woman, to show him that grace, right?
Right, boy, and same with the man.
Correct.
The man use the pickup lines and all that stuff to bring the woman in, but he has no intention of being committed to her.
Correct. And this is why now they're telling you to watch for the person who fears the Lord, because guess what? The person who's wicked and the person who could be good, they could both have this thing, but you can't tell the difference. The way to tell the difference is, hey, to observe spiritually that this person is seeking the Lord. Therefore, you know what? That beauty is not going just what's captivating me. I could see beyond that, and that person really has the Lord inside of them.
They're not treating people like objects or for their own
Correct.
means to an end.
Right, because it happens to both men and it happens to both women, right? We both get captivated by the looks and the words and all these things, and not, hey, if you looked at the partner that you had before and you're choosing them in this way, would the relationship go like that now, right? The person like, no, why did you choose them? Oh, they look nice and they were a thing, and did it have anything to do with God and Christ? Or no, it didn't. What did you expect? Especially, you're forgetting the gospel. You're forgetting that the person is offense. They need grace, first of all. And if they don't even understand this stuff, to have some shame and to restrain their behavior, then you're dealing with people who, once again, you don't know what they can do at any time. All right, so we're going to go to enthrall.
It's the etymology of enthrall. Enthrall is a verb. Also enthrall, to hold in mental or moral bondage, from the 1570s. From en, to make. Put in, and plus thrall, noun. The sense is rare in English, related to enthralled or enthralling, also from the 1570s. Thrall, noun. Late Old English, bondman, serf or slave. From a Scandinavian source akin to Old Norse, prael, slave, servant, figuratively wretch, scoundrel, probably from Proto-Germanic thrakilas, literally runner, from root thray, to run, source also of Old High German, de grill, servant, properly, runner, Old English pragen, Gothic pragen, to run, meaning condition of servitude, is from the early 14th century.
All right, so the person is enthralled with charm, and once again, this enthrall is once again to be put into bondage, right? To hold in mental or moral bondage, all right? And that thrall world, right? Enthrall, right? Means literally, enthrall means to put in bondage, to enslave. They enslaved you with words and the looks and all of that, and brought you to themselves with that, and not with the likeness of God. All right, so now we're going to go to Sirach 9 and 4.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 4. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts.
All right, so now we're getting into this now. Right? So now we're here. It says, use not much of the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Why are they saying this? Because once again, they had an understanding before that words, the singing, all this stuff, right, is charming. What is charming? Captivating. What is captivating? This thing could take your heart and enslave it to an individual. This is now the scriptures using wisdom is telling you, hey, don't keep much company with that of a singer, lest you be taken with her attention. Because not only through her song and her voice, that could captivate you. And now she's beautiful too. Now you're taken by her. All right. And this is what we see when you have a Beyonce. Everyone's captivated, right? She has a husband, but everyone's like, I love Beyonce, her voice, the way she looks. All of that captivates it. Now this is when you have a beehive. Everyone's like, no, she's so beautiful. And her voice is so this.
Is that what sirens do?
Yes, sirens use the voice as well. Yes, yeah, right. They sing in the oceans and the water, and they captivate the seamen. Yes.
Men walk right out into the water.
Yeah. They're like, what's that beautiful sound coming from?
Just walk
They're
out.
drowning. Yeah.
Right. So it says, use not much company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Why? Because she literally has the power to charm and captivate with her voice.
You were saying Beyonce, but Erykah Badu.
Yeah, Erykah Badu, once again, she's modest, so that might not be the thing for some people. I'm using Beyonce because Beyonce, she has the skin, she has all of that the mind is looking for, which is why they've gone crazy over her and why she's, one of the successful women.
And she's put a spell on even the other singers that now when they get up and get an award, they have to thank Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like she's the one who created singing, period.
Mhm. Right? They're thanking her like, hey, she's the goddess. They're like, oh, Beyonce is the god. She's the... All right, so give us out of the English Standard Version.
All right. This is Sirach chapter 9, verse 4 out of the English Standard Version. Don't hang around with a female musician, since you might get caught in her advances.
All right, so now it's saying don't hang around with female musician. You might get caught in her advances, giving you wisdom that if she's beautiful and she has that voice, this is power to captivate a man's mind without the need of fearing of the Lord needing to be. She'll need to have anything to do with the Lord. The person's captivated by the beauty and by the voice. And his heart has now been taken in bondage, captivated, enthralled. All right, and now she's catching you with the advances. And we're seeing a lot of this is being done in society. Because right now, what do we see? We see that Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, was captivated by who? Cassie. Right? A captivation for a woman, singer. All right? And with that, certain behaviors now come. Right? Because it's not just like any female now. Now he's like, yo, that female, the way she looks, she sings, all of that. Now his mind is in a frenzy.
Biggie, he would be more the charmer, would he not? He'd be more the manipulator in that instance.
Well, he's doing that because so he's found beauty in the female and the singing, right? So he is a producer, so that's what he looks and scouts for.
Now he's doing things in order to captivate her.
Correct.
He's been captivated, so now in this moment of okay, how am I gonna get her?
Correct. So they're showing. So in the case, they're showing the differences between a woman where he. So for instance, he had 50 Cent's what you call ex-baby mom, all right, or his baby mom. Right, and the way he was treating her, he was giving her minimal amounts of money, and he didn't care if she came and said, "Oh, I'll break up," because he wasn't really captivated by her beauty like that. Like, yeah, she was beautiful, but he knew she was with somebody already. But with Cassie, he didn't want her to leave. He would always come back and be like, "No," because he's captivated by her. He didn't want her to be with anybody. If she went with anybody else, he would get angry. He would stalk that person. They say he tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car. All these different stuff. With the other woman, he's like, "Oh, you slept with someone? All right, you want the relationship to be done now?" Like, he was okay with the relationship being done when he's not captivated. So they're showing that he had this captivation, that Cassie had this pull over him. All right, so we're at now the RSV. Give us Sirach 9 and 8.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 8. Turn away your eyes from a shapely woman, and do not gaze at beauty belonging to another. Many have been seduced by a woman's beauty, and by it passion is kindled like a fire.
All right, so once again, it says, turn away thy eyes from a shapely woman. So now it's showing you the shape. All this stuff is the physical grace that it's showing you to turn away from. Turn away your eyes from a shapely woman. Do not gaze at the beauty belonging to another. Right? It's saying many have been seduced by a woman's beauty. They've been seduced by this type of grace. The physical grace.
Women and men too.
Yes, men as well too. Right? But with beauty and, you know, with all these things there, everyone gets captivated with this. So we're all in this same likeness. Right? But the warning is given to man because, once again, man is usually stronger in these emotions, being him representation of the Lord, going back into the flesh. The woman being of the weaker flesh, she could just be more susceptible to this. Reason why, from the beginning, did Satan go to Adam or did Satan go to Eve? Right? So he knew. He understands the gospel. He understands nature. This is why he chose the woman first. And then, we start off with Adam. He really wanted to get to Adam, but he got to Adam through getting to Eve. Right? So man usually, right, when they're sustained, when man is in his mind, it's hard to get to him except through this beautiful way. Right? Other ways he's paying attention. But now when it's beauty, when it's the beauty mixed with the words, now the man is more easily captivated, which is now why this harsh warning is being given to man that, hey, for you, if you're even a man of what? Understanding, this is the way that they'll get you, through sending you this beautiful woman, through this, right?
So then the woman also has to be aware of the devil trying to get to her man.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all of that. So once again, the example we have, we have what's his name? We have Samson, right? He's a warrior. Anybody else come to him in any way, he's on point. Some men we put our guard down around the woman. So because you see that beauty and all of that, we're like, oh no, this. And now she's there because she's beautiful and everything. Now anybody else ask him, oh, where do you get your power from? He'd have been like, what the heck? Where you want to know that for? But because his woman want to know, he's like, oh, you're so beautiful and this, yo, I'll let you know. Yo, if you cut my hair, yo, I lose this power. I lose this. And this is what they started to do, right? So around everybody else, he's tough. So we're talking about Samson killing all men, strength, everything. This beauty and the words seduced him to give up the information.
She never loved him at all. But I'm just saying, like,
she did.
Yeah.
She did. But she was also under pressure, right?
Mm-hmm,
No, you can't just take the story for at only one point. The whole point, you know what I mean? The fact that she did what she did was because she was threatened. Right? So you have to take that into account also. Self-preservation, right? You can't just say evil. Not all the time.
All right, so once again, turning away your eyes from a shapely woman, all right? Not gazing at another, not being seduced by the physical grace. But once again, what are you looking for? You're looking for that double grace, right? You're looking for that shamefaced and faithful woman. That's the grace, not the shapely woman with the singing voice. That's the physical double grace. All right, now we're going to go to the Testament of Judah. We're at chapter 23 and 1.
It's the Testament of Judah, chapter 23, verse 1. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts and idolatries which ye shall practice against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirits, diviners, and demons of error. Ye shall make your daughters singing girls and harlots, and ye shall mingle in the abominations of the Gentiles. For which things sake the Lord shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword, beleaguering by enemies, and revilings of friends, the slaughter of children, the rape of wives, the plundering of possessions, the burning of the temple of God, the laying waste of the land, the enslavement of yourselves among the Gentiles, and they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives, until the Lord visit you, when with perfect heart ye repent and walk in all his commandments, and bring you up from captivity among the Gentiles.
All right, so this is a testament Judah is given to his children. Now he's saying, I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts. So he's seeing the lewdness, the sexual lewdness, right? He's seeing witchcraft. He's seeing idolatries that they practice against the kingdom. of God, following them that have familiar spirits, diviners, demons of error. So they're following demons of error, familiar spirits. They're going with what the nations are doing. And it says, ye shall make your daughters singing girls and harlots. So once again, the woman of God who's supposed to be shamefaced, faithful, instead of having that grace on them, they have a grace of singing girls and harlots. And what do we see that in? Hip hop. All right. You know what? Let me get a perfect picture of this representation right now. All right. There we go. This is what it is. Sexy Red. All right. And it's funny too, because they have to change their name when they come into it, but she has Sexy Devil on her. And that's why she couldn't be called Sexy Devil in the industry, so they just call her Sexy Red. Right? But Sexy Red, her name really is Sexy Devil, and she has that tattooed on her. But this is the singing and the harlotry that is on the woman of Judah. It's all up on them. It's the whole culture that is on them. This same behavior. Harlotry mixed with the words and the songs. All right. And it's so much so that they saying it captivated this man here. Drake. Okay. Captivated by such harlotry and singing. Right. That's what he loves. They're saying that's the type of stuff he loves, which is why he's so captivated by Sexy Red. So much so, right? We even had Kendrick Lamar put it in his music about it. Right. But there is a captivation that Drake had with this type of behavior of women. And it was being pointed out by another fellow artist who's pointing out this is the type of woman that he would rather deal with. The woman who was dealing with this harlotry and this singing rather than women who show shamefaced and faithfulness. All right, so I just wanted to put that emphasis there. All right, so the women are turned into singing girls and harlots, and shall mingle in the abominations of the Gentiles, which things sake the Lord shall bring famine and pestilence, death, sword, belingering by the enemies, revilings of friends, slaughter of children, rape of wives, plundering of possessions, the burning of the temple, the laying of the waste of the land, enslavement of yourselves amongst the Gentiles. Why is this all happening? Because God is like, not only the women strip themselves of this true grace of being faithful and shamefaced, but the people have as well. All right. And they're making their daughters, removing from the daughters of God this proper grace and turning them into singers and harlots that are captivating men in their wickedness. All right. And being led by demons of error, to where we can now have in our society, right, amongst the children of Judah, a woman who is a singer, rapper, whatever you want to call them, but also dealing and projecting a harlotry image and calling herself Sexy Red, which is synonym for Sexy Devil. All right, so we're going to continue. All right, and once again, it's saying that when they shall come back and repent with perfect hearts and walk in the commandments of God, that's when he'll bring them up out of this captivity. So this is letting us know this is still happening. This is happening in the captivity. All right, we're going to move on. We're at Proverbs 1 and 8.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck.
Yeah, so my son, hear the instruction of thy father, forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. So it's saying, once again, the instructions also of the father, the law of the mother, which is law of nature, right? Law of nature, that's from the mother, right? When we're dealing with governmental moral laws, all of that, that's the father. Instructions from the Father. All right. Forsake not the law of the mother. Instructions of the Father, law of the mother. These are an ornament of grace on your head. So these are also representations of grace, true grace. The instructions of the Father and the laws of the mother. And where do we see that? When Christ says, yo, he's going to send you the comforter, right? He's going to reveal you all things. He's telling you to listen to the comforter, right? That's the instructions from the Father, Christ, telling you the comforter's going to come and reveal you the fullness of the law. You got those two things as an ornament of grace. So this is why it's even telling us that there, because then it was exhibited later on. That's why Christ has to tell them, hey, listen to me. If you love me, keep my commandments. And then tell them no, then letting them know about the coming of the Holy Spirit, the comforter. Because she's going to reveal what? She's the one showing us the laws of nature, all of these other laws, all of those things. But how do we get there? Because we listen to what the Father told us. He told us to listen to the wisdom. Not only the Father in the scriptures, but Christ as well, when he was here, said, listen to the comforter. He's sending it in place. All right. So the instructions of the Father, the law of the mother, they are an ornament on your head. Grace, an ornament of grace, and chains about your neck. If they want to be now, and we see with Israel, they have all those chains and the big chains. That's not the chain you want. All right. I'm following the law's mother. That's the big ice you want. All right. That's the spiritual ice that yo, look at it. Bling blinging. I listen to mommy. And then if you want now after you do that, now maybe you can get that after that. Now be like, you know what? This is representation of wisdom, right? That same, but now you have that there because you had the spiritual one there first.
The spiritual one, people can see it on you, but they can't see it.
Yeah, they can't see it physically.
Actuality, if you have that spiritual one, you will not have that second one.
No, you won't, because you'll be like, yeah, you're not gonna want.
Because that one is of the world, and that one you can go anywhere, and somebody can want that. And
Yeah.
Why would you, if you have the wisdom, you would not want that applied to you. Right?
Or you wear it, with, choose where you wear it. Use wisdom when to wear
But that's
it.
the thing, right? If you wouldn't have that fear, so you wouldn't even care to anywhere you walk with that. But because of wisdom, you just wouldn't even have it.
No, I definitely understand. Yeah. All right, so we're at Proverbs 3 and 21.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 21. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck.
All right, so another representation of this grace, right? Keep sound wisdom and discretion. Sound wisdom. They shall be life unto your soul and also grace to your neck. So he's showing us how he knows our people love to have ice. We love to have these ornaments on us. He's showing us the spiritual ornaments, right? Instruction of the Father on your head. Forsake not the law of mother. This is the crown that you need. This is the crown of grace. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. This is the grace around your neck. This is the chain that you need to have. All right. So once again, what am I showing? I'm just showing these abstract examples of true grace. Because now we're moving from the physical grace and we're going into the abstract grace. And if you have this, it's showing the real grace that God is looking for. All right. And once again, going into grace, what is that? Give us a definition.
This is the definition of grace. This is Hebrew 25:80. This is Cain. Graciousness, that is subjectively kindness, favor, or objectively beauty. Favor, grace, gracious, pleasant, precious, well favored.
All right. So once again, this grace is kindness, favor, beauty. All right. When people see something beautiful, they treat it with kindness. Oh, look at the beautiful thing. Don't touch it. It's so beautiful.
First Samuel 16, chapter 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get it. 1 Samuel 16. All right. 16. KJV. Okay, 16 and what?
16 verse 6 to 13.
Okay, 6 to 13. All right, let's go.
This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 6. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, The Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him, and now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. And Samuel took the horn and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. Yeah, so just going into how, the sons of Jesse, they were looking at the countenance to choose them, but the Most High basically rejected them, not based on the looks. Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, that the Most High knows how man looks. They look by the outward appearance, and they were choosing. They're looking at how the person looks, and this is the grace that they were looking for. God's looking for that unseen grace, that abstract grace, that spiritual grace. Right? He knows that man judges the other way, but he judges this way. So this is why the scriptures and wisdom is now telling us not to look at that physical grace and beauty, but to look at it abstractly, first from the person wanting to be with God, having that faith of God inside of them, and that leading the way, that being the beauty that you're seeing on the individual that you're being with. Hey, they want to know God. They want to learn God. Not that they're in their fullness with God, but they have this thing that you see in them that, hey, that's what's driving you, right? Is this love for God that's within there, this earnest, hey, I want to seek God, know more about him. They could be in their earliest stage of that, and you can just see their honest desire to want to seek the Lord, and that being a thing that the person falls in love with, right? Over, you know what? Why did you choose your partner? Oh, that I was attracted to them. I was thing with them, right? All right. So we're going to continue now. All right, we're almost done. So we're at Isaiah 42 and 10.
It's the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 10. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth. Ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof.
So now what is it telling us? It's telling us, so once again, if we know that words are captivating, God is telling us to sing to him, right? But he's telling us to sing. This is the songs. He wants us to be singers for him as well. Which, what is the song? The song is the gospel. When we're doing the gospel, singing the gospel, and we're saying the new song, which is the song that he really wants to hear. He doesn't want to hear the old song from the Old Testament. He wants to hear the new song from the new covenant. When you're doing that new song and singing that, meaning teaching that, now you're captivating and wooing God's heart. Now he has to be like, you know what? I got to come and heal him right now. I got to give him what he needs right now, because the music that's coming from them, the gospel, what they're saying is captivating God.
That's a good point, because in Sirach it tells you don't go around a singing woman because you could get taken away.
Yes, we had went through that. Yes. So that's where I was making it mention. So yes. So using that, we want to now be that for God now, to take him away. You want to take God away, right? And he's telling you how to do. He's saying, sing the new song to me.
Even thinks about Sinners. The movie Sinners, the guy was the singer that did say something you already went to.
What? No.
Okay, so even the singer guy in Sinners, the movie Sinners, the vampire wanted him because he's doing everything. You know what I mean? I guess God just kind of the same thing in that.
Yeah, same thing, where they don't know that, hey, you're a captain. Not only would you captivate people around you, but also people are forgetting there's angels, all of that. They're captivated by the song. So they're hearing the song and the juking, and they're like, what's going on?
Well, put it simply, if your singing can captivate the Most High God, who can't it captivate?
Correct.
It's because God will, make.
Well, maybe those people, they don't like abstractness. So it's an abstract captive. So this man, so they're not looking at this. They're like, what is that? The gospel? I don't want to hear that.
But even still, there's some people, you ever hear a song and you don't really hear the lyrics, but it sounds really good, and then after the lyrics, you're like,
Yeah. That's what the gospel is like. So when God is hearing that, he's like, oh man, that's what's wooing him. So once again, there is some good coming from that hey, we to turn into singing women for God, the true singing women, the abstract singing women, singing the new song, the new gospel, the new covenant, right? And that will captivate God's heart. And it's telling us, sing unto the Lord the new song, right? To captivate him. So we're at Ephesians 5:17.
It's the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 17. Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God.
All right. So once again, it's saying, wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Be not drunk with wine, wherein excess, but be filled with the Spirit. All right. And it's saying, speaking to yourselves in psalms, in hymns, spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. So it's telling you that you should become what? A singer to the Lord. What is a singer to the Lord in the spiritual sense? Someone who's saying the gospel, preaching the gospel, teaching the gospel, right? Learning the gospel, passing the gospel on to others. Right now we're captivating God in his heart because we turn into that singing woman that he can't resist. All right. It says, giving thanks always unto God the Father in the name of our Lord. All right. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Lord. All right. So once again, submitting ourselves under that covenant of grace to each other, forgiving each other the way we're supposed to, in fear of God, in fear of losing what? That grace. You don't want to lose that grace, and God's not saying, no, you got to repay now. All right, so now because you don't want to fear that, now you're extending that grace to others out of that fear and submitting yourselves one to another.
As you said, that he can't resist, that the Most High God can't resist. It's not that he can't resist, it's that he chooses not to resist.
Correct. He just chooses not to resist. Yeah, thank you for correcting me. He can resist. But based on the law of nature, it says the man can't. He can, but he will choose not to. So it will seem like he can't resist. But he can if he really wants, because he's God. Man has no choice. He'd be captivated. Right? But yes.
When it comes to conversation, we have to be careful.
Yes, we can. Yes.
Keep God astray.
Yeah, but you're only captivated with this anyway. So that's not like he's saying something, another song, only this new song or this could captivate him. He's not getting captivated like man with, as long as you do a song and it's good, like I'm captivated. It has to be this specific song, which is the new song. So we're now at Colossians 3:16.
It's the book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 16. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord.
All right, so singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. So let the word of Christ dwell with you richly in all wisdom, right? Admonishing one another in psalms, hymns, spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. So once again, the same thing in the relationship, showing that grace and going through the scriptures with each other. And this is the song to sing one to another, to captivate each other with the gospel, with the scriptures, with the psalms. And also singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord, captivating the Lord with that new song. He wants to hear that new song being played from his woman. Right? And that new song is the gospel of Christ. All right. Once again, we're at Isaiah 42:10.
This is the book of the prophet Isaiah chapter 42, verse 10. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth. Ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof.
So this once again, sing unto the Lord that new song, right? And once again, we turn into that singing woman that uses that charm. But that charm now is good. It's the gospel. And it's not this charm that we were showing prior, which comes through this beauty and singing shown through the likes of Beyonce, Sexy Red, etc. All right. So with that being said, we're going to end it, right, at Philippians 4:8.
It's the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 8.
Actually, you know what? Before we even go there, let me go to one last scripture. All right, because now I want to show they're in a covenant of grace. How does that covenant of grace come to an end? This is what we're going to show here. All right. First Corinthians 10, I believe. 1 Corinthians 10. KJV. I didn't put in the lesson, but it is important because now you're like, oh, does this go on forever? This is the only way it's really going to end. No, it's not 1 Corinthians 10. Let me see. Okay, 1 Corinthians 7. Sorry, 1 Corinthians 7. All right. All right. So just want to show how God frees you from this covenant of grace when one is with each other. All right. So we're going to start at verse 10. So 1 Corinthians 7 and 10.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. But, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any other brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
All right, so here we're showing. So the first one is saying, hey, y'all together, right? This is what the Lord is saying, right? Unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband, right? But if she depart, let her remain unmarried, reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away the wife. All right, but it says, but to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother have a wife that believe not, and she's pleased to dwell, let him not put her away. So this goes back to now. So in this one, it's not the Lord commanding it, but this is the grace once again being shown. That it can't be a command if it's a grace. This is why it's saying that it's on the individual to be like, hey, this is your relationship now. The person's coming out of the faith now. You're already in the relationship with them. You're already in the marriage with them. They're out of the faith now. You got to extend this grace to them, right? It's not a command from the Lord, because command means it's law. Right, we're in the new covenant. This is covenant of grace. So this is why the man's extending the grace. But to the rest I speak, not I, not the Lord. If a brother have a wife that believe not, right? So she's not believing no more, but she's your wife, or the same for the woman, right? And the person's not believing not, right? Now you're extending the grace. Now you're like, you know what? All right, I'm giving you the grace to see if you're gonna change, right? And it says, and if she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. Right, and the woman which has a husband that believe not. Actually, where did I stop you again? Sorry,
He stopped right here with the woman.
1 Corinthians
all right,
what?
1 Corinthians 7 and 10, but we're at verse 13. All right, and the woman. All right, yeah. So continue for us.
Verse 13. Okay.
For verse 13, yeah.
All right. It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 13. And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now they are holy. But now are they holy. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God had called us to peace.
All right, so this is what I'm showing here. All right, that this is the way the covenant of grace is going to break. in this relationship. All right. That the person, if they're falling out of faith now, so both are in faith and they're in the grace. Now one is in the grace and in the faith and one is not. The other person is extending this grace to the other person to see if they will change. Once again, we went through that vengeance is of the Lord, so God will repay. What is God doing in the situation? He's saying, if they're still pleased to dwell with you, there's still a possibility they could come back. All right, but God could free you from this. God will free you from this if that's not the case. And how is it showing that? Right, because it's saying, hey, if the unbelieving depart, then let them depart. So if they don't want to be with you because of your faith and they want to go now God is saying, now you let them depart. This is how you break that covenant thing. Because that person wants to go. They're not in the faith no more. You're not in bondage to them no more. And you are not the one that broke the covenant. You don't want to be the breaker of the covenant. You breaking it and not them breaking it. This is them breaking it and them leaving. You're not under that no more because they broke it. They left and departed. You're not the breaker of it, doing that and breaking away beforehand, and you being the one to break it, right? That person is breaking away. They're departing. God made that happen through instances to what? Free the believer from that bondage. He's called that person to peace. They're no longer in that bondage, in that relationship with the individual, because God did what? We have to understand the Spirit runs people away. Like the wind bloweth away the chaff. All right. And we'll show that too, that the Spirit is the one that runs people away. All right. All right. So we're going to go to Psalms 1 and 4. All right, so Psalms 1 and 4, and we're almost done.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 4. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish.
All right, so the ungodly are not so. They are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. The ungodly, they go away. They run away. Right? They don't stand in the judgment. They don't stand, they're going to run away because they can't deal with that. So God runs them away from the righteous. The unholy people can't stand or be around the righteous. They go away. All right, and once again, we'll go to another one. All right, so we'll go to another one, and we'll go to, all right. All right, so we'll go to Proverbs 28. Proverbs 28 and 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 1. The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion.
All right, so once again, it's showing you that the wicked flee. Why do the wicked flee? The Spirit, which is represented by the wind, is chasing them away, making them flee. So it's the same thing at the end of this relationship where God's freeing the individual. The Spirit is coming on the person to make them flee from the one that is in faith, allowing the one that's in faith to be now at peace in the relationship. All right. And I just wanted to emphasize that in this covenant of grace, right? And how one ends this covenant or makes it, and it ends when the person's not in faith no more. This is the starting of that. And now you're waiting to see, is God seeing what's in their heart? If their heart really has nothing more in there, God is now going to run this individual away from you to free you out of that relationship. But you yourself should not be breaking that covenant of the grace. You must believe that God pays the vengeance. He repays. This is how he repays. He's saying, look, I made the person leave. You're now free. I repaid. I made them leave, not you left them. Right? But how much people could wait for that? They're like, I want to leave now though. Right? Right? You have to also allow to see if God could work on the person's heart. God will know when it's time. Hey, there's nothing I can do here. Just like we seen in Sodom when Lot was there. He's like, oh, but what? No, God knows. He's like, no, their heart is done. There's no more time for them. It's time now. And now he's like, no, but let me see. No, God knows when it's time to cut the individuals off and there's no more hope. All right, so we got to believe and trust and believe and have faith that God is watching us in that relationship, because we showed that he's watching believers under this covenant of grace and how we deal with each other with this grace, and how we deal with each other with this grace is how he deals with us back in return. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go to Philippians 4 and 8.
It's the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true.
All right, what is it true? It's true that God gave us this covenant of grace in a relationship, which is first extended to our partners, extended in brotherhood and sisterhood, and then extended to those outside in the world. Continue for us.
Whatsoever things are honest.
All right, it's honest. We have to be honest with ourselves. All right. Sin lies within us, right? We have to what? Have mercy and grace on our partners. And Christ showed that with the stoning of the woman, stoning her. But do you have offenses in you? And not, oh, I didn't do that same offense, because that's not what Christ asked. He didn't ask, hey, did any of you guys cheat on your partner too? Or did you cheat as well? No, he said you have an offense somewhere hidden there against God. Any one of the offenses, doesn't matter which one. All right, so it wasn't, oh, I didn't do what the person did. That's not what it's about. You have an offense somewhere. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are just.
All right, and it's just. What's just? Right? Giving the person that gift of grace. Yes, it's just that you can do and say this thing because you caught the person doing this act and that act, right? But that's the law. Grace is now, hey, you're undeserving of this behavior, but I'm giving you this behavior because, hey, you're deserving of it through Christ. Continue for us.
Whatsoever things are pure.
All right, what's pure? A relationship that is built on this bond of grace. Both individuals bestowing grace on each other. This abstract spiritual grace, and not this physical grace that is seen as beautiful and lovely. All right, but the abstract grace is what's really lovely in the eyes of God. Continue for us.
Whatsoever things are of good report.
All right, and good report. God is looking for what? The good report on how the individual who received grace from him, how they leave from him and extend the grace onto others. They're extending it good onto others. That report's coming back to God. He's like, yo, I have mercy and grace constantly bestowed on this individual. He gets the report back that the person is what? They got their grace and they're not extending it, but they're taking it further than what God took it on them. Then he's removing that grace because it wasn't a good report that came back. Continue for us.
If there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things that you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
All right. So once again, those things you've heard and seen us do, and the God of peace will be with us. So once again, this is the Sabbath report / lesson, worship, song of the day, grace in a relationship. And that was part 2. Peace and blessings.
Peace and
Peace and
blessings.
blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are 3 philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called deceived. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth,